All right. Hey there. Good morning, everybody. It's just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Wednesday, Friday, the 31st, the last day of the month, the 31st of January, 2025. I don't know why I keep saying 2024. I got to get over this, right? Hope y'all are doing well. If there's any issue with you guys hearing me, let me know here real quick. And we'll join in here. Before we get going, as always, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, guys. Do me a favor, please, and thank you. Share the link, okay? Wherever you're listening from, wherever you're watching from, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, X, do me a favor. Share that link so we can get other people to look in. Fibo had intended to be here today. He may still be able to show up, so you may see him show up some point here, but he got caught up with some corporate stuff. So he's going to try and make it, but if not, it'll probably be about 2 weeks. I know next week he's got something to do. So, but we'll try and get him in here. All right. You hear me? Good, good, good. Hey guys, give me just 1 second here. I screwed up. There's an extra step when we're trying to stream to, what's it called? Instagram. Give me just 1 second here. And I gotta redo this stream key because I screwed it up. Let me see. Yeah, just 1 second, guys. Let me go ahead and do that. And that way, if somebody wanted to watch over there, I just try to make it easy, guys. I don't make any money off these streams as far as, viewership and whatever goes, unless somebody sends like a tip or something really. But that isn't my intent here. My intent is just to get this information out for you guys. And so I just try to make it as easy as possible here. Get that go live on there. They got a stupid extra step. I don't get it. Make it difficult, right? But let me see. Oh, there we go. Looks like we might be going live over there now. All right. So we've got that. Let me see here. Chris Green, what's up, man? He says, thanks for answering those questions. The price action class this Wednesday. Hey, you're welcome, man. For sure. For sure. By the way, if you guys aren't in TWC, I could say it all day, but you really don't know what you're missing. There's so many ways that you can find, trading ideas on top of the education you're getting there. Some of the big ones we had, or I had personally this last week or so, we did Pond, we did XCN, we did, what was the other one? Neon. We did that one. Just recently, that one's still doing well there. Working on that as well as the XCN one. But you got other ones as well. I can't even remember them all. But again, we do stocks, we do crypto, we do futures. We've even got some forex in there. So there's just so many damn charts. So much together. You can go to TexasWestCapital.com and join up if you want to there. The price is going to go up. But if you're already a member, if you're already paying the $97 a month, that's it. We're going to keep you at that, okay? As long as you continue to renew, you'll get that rate. Now, if you stop renewing, and then you come back and, we can't give you that price anymore. But as long as you remain, a student and renewing that, auto-renew on that, you'll be good to go. If you get in before we raise the price, you'll still get this $97. Again, you can do it there at TexasWestCapital.com. But once the price goes up, you have to pay the other price. But even when the price goes up, guys, it's so much. I cannot explain to you just how much value there is there compared to how little the price is. And so, some people get it. Some people get it. Some people don't. Some people want to sit out here and try to do everything for free. But, again, you're only going to get so far. You're only going to get so far. Doing with free. And very few people, maybe you're one of them. Most people seem to think they are, but again, most people lose money in the market, so most aren't, right? But some people can get it without getting any additional help, kind of do it on their own. I wasn't one of those people. I put in my time. I paid both in losses in the market and then when I got smart about it, coaches and mentors and stuff along the way over the last 30 years. So, either you figure it out or you don't. And, no reason I don't feel any way towards you if you do or you don't figure it out. But, that's for you, right? That's for you to figure out there. Let me see here. Jean-Claude Van Damme says, Hello, I am here looking for the Bitcoin rally. Thank you. Well, we're in it. We're in the Bitcoin rally. We're going to bring up the Bitcoin chart in a minute here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin chart and then the DXY, and then we'll jump into the chart request, guys. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. Just kind of going through these real quick here. It's really good seeing you guys. Monkey Man says, good evening from the UK. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hopefully, man, you guys are dealing with some nonsense over there, aren't you? As far as your government and everything goes, man, I hope y'all, work your way out through that because, oh, man, some of that nonsense these governments are doing, absolutely stupid. And we were there. Now, some people are going to say we're there right now with Trump, but the reality of it is we're just, Trump's just back there rolling back a lot of the nonsense that's happened. Now, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. It is what it is, but I'm gonna be honest about the way I feel about it. And we were on a really crappy road. We were more worried about people's feelings and making them feel included than you are about safety and you are about competence. And that's a big issue. There's got to be a different way to do it than what they were doing. We're paying for the sins of our fathers, so to speak, here politically in terms of things that have happened as a result of those policies. So anyway, I'm done. I'm done here, guys. I'm off here. Okay. I don't mean to get anybody upset about it, but I do have my particular feelings just like you have yours. Thankfully, none of that affects the trading, right? Because we just trade on the charts, guys, right? We just trade on the charts. So, look at Nathan here. Nathan says, sign up. Nathan would know. He signed up. Let me see here. All right. So now, I guess we can go ahead and jump on this, right? Might as well just go ahead and do it. You guys are chomping at the bit a bit here, right? Okay. So this is Bitcoin. Look how pretty that chart is. For all the complaining and all the whining and all the top is in BS over the last, how long was this? Over the last couple of months. This is actually a really pretty chart. Look at this. We have this beautiful spring down here, right there below the range low. Fantastic follow through up here to the previous swing high. As I always tell you guys, if it's accumulation or reaccumulation, most of the time you're going to get 5 waves up just prior to or just beyond that swing high area, at the top, just beyond the range there. And then you'll get a pullback. So it's a wave 1 and then a wave 2. And then you get wave 3. And your wave 3 is your big one, right? Because wave 3 is what we call the participation wave, okay? We call that because usually what happens is wave 1 goes up and everybody's for sure it's going to go down. And so wave 2 starts going there and they're like, see, I told you. And then it breaks out and they go, oh crap, I'm shorting. I'm in the wrong direction. I have to get the hell out of my short and get long. And so that then brings in a whole bunch of longs. Not only are they get rid of the shorts that were down there, right? But then they have to buy the long, right? Because in order to get rid of your short, you have to go long, right? And then, just to get out of your position. And then you got to go long to actually continue, right? So that's where you get your big pushes. In terms of Wyckoff, this breakout here above this is what we call the creek here. It's the supply. And so this wave 3 is the breakout above that. It prints what we call a jump across the creek. Okay. So I do believe that's what's going to happen here. I do believe that is overall where we are going. Okay. Let me see here. So yeah, so I mean, as far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, and look at this pullback here. You have this descending resistance, rallied up, pulled back, broke out, volume, large candle spread, retested, rallied up again, just peaked out through the top here, came back. What do we get? We get another spike of volume, even more so than what we got at the spring here. On this pullback here, where did it pull back to? The diagonal resistance as support and the daily pivot and the EQ of the range. I mean, that's significant support there. Okay. So I know some people are out there and they get all up in their emotions, and they're feeling their emotions a lot. Stop watching those people. Just because somebody has a large following online does not mean they're competent. Okay. Peter Brand actually made a post the other day where he said something like most of what you're seeing in social media, traders post charts is what I'm trying to get to, are not like, they're not legit. Okay. They're just like lines drawn. They're people's emotions going in there, trying to find some reason to say it's going to do whatever they think they're going to do. And for those of you that don't know, Peter Brandt is a classical chartist. He uses classical charting principles. I don't. I understand them. I think they lack. Which is why I use the tools that I use. But nonetheless, he's been able to make a career out of it. Okay, but he's not wrong. This is what I want to say. I've been doing this. This is my 31st year of trading. And what he said is true. A lot of it's going to look good because it's going to say what you think you want to hear, which is the same way with the marketing, right? The marketing in life, sales, they tell you what you want to hear in order for you to buy, right? It's the same thing with the charts, which is why you'll get a lot of people saying, oh, look, Wyckoff, distribution, accumulation, and they'll have the little schematic placed next to it with the lines, and they'll go, look, it looks like that. But the very fact that that's all they did proves that they've never learned Wyckoff, because Wyckoff isn't about the squiggly little lines. It's about price action and volume relationship throughout the range in specific areas of the range. And so, these are things you guys have to watch out there. So again, a lot of people will come up and they'll say, oh, technical analysis is nonsense. It doesn't work. Well, my first question always is, which technical analysis? Because there's all sorts of kind. Again, Peter Brandt uses classical charting. I use Elliott wave. I use Wyckoff. I use price action. I use some stuff from ICT, very little, but some of the, the more important stuff, because I tend to be much more volume and price action related as far as my analysis goes. But other people do other things out there. But so my first question when somebody says, oh, technical analysis doesn't work is, well, which technical analysis? Because there's a whole bunch of different kinds. The other thought is what I was alluding to earlier, what I was saying earlier, which is most of what you're going to see online is a bunch of nonsense, guys. It's people that aren't using it properly, right? So they'll go and they'll read the very basics of maybe how to do it, and then they'll go just start doing things. Well, if you're not following the rules and or the guidelines of that particular strategy or that particular system, then guess what? You're not doing it properly. My point is, it's the big accounts a lot of times that you have to watch out for because they're really good at marketing, but they're not very good at analysis. Now, I'm not saying they all aren't. I'm just saying you see a lot of this going on there. And as human beings, whether we want to or not, we tend to put more trust into somebody's got a whole bunch of people following. We're like, oh, well, they must know what they're talking about, right? So you got to be careful out there with it. So where does Bitcoin go from here? Up. Minimum expected wave 3 target, 1, 2, 3, up here at 135,812. This is the Bitcoin all-time index, all-time high index here that I'm using. That's the chart. So around that level, depending if you're using Bitcoin USD, Bitcoin USDT, you're using Binance, you're using Coinbase, you're using Bitstamp, whatever exchange you're using, it's up around that area on it. So yeah, so my expectation is it goes up from here. Again, the price action volume relationship looks great. The pullbacks are where you expect them to be and how you expect them to look. Again, you got this great, you've got this move down. So you get into a triangle and then a thrust down. You get a large candle at the end of this downtrend with a large lower wick, very small body near the top, nice doji on this spike of volume. That's huge. That tells you that demand showed up there. And sure enough, what happens? It dips back and boom, breaks out higher. So, again, there's simple things like this that you can learn that are going to go a long way toward helping you be a better trader, guys, no matter how you're trading. Okay. So yeah. Let me see here. What'd you say, Andrew? Only realized that about the influencers on X after learning here on TWC. Now I look at those posts and almost laugh. Yeah. Here's the thing about Andrew, guys. He's one of those guys that followed me forever, like online on these streams or whatever. And he finally, jumped in when it was more expensive. Yeah, when it was more expensive. And he jumped in and he just sucked it all down. I mean, he just took it all in. And within less than a year, it just absolutely trading incredibly, which is why he's one of our lead traders over there at TWC now. But, you know, he's just proof that if you're serious about learning, you can do it, right? But you have to be serious about it. Again, you know, I talked about it so many times before. A lot of people say that they're serious about something or another. In this case, we'll talk about trading, but other things in their life, and they're really not. It sounds good to say it, but they really don't put the effort. If it comes down to, should I study and practice what I'm learning, or should I scroll on social media? Should I go have some beers with the boys? Should I go out on a date? You know, people are going to choose the latter most of the time. If you say you're serious and you're choosing the other thing, then you're really not as serious as you need to be if you really want to become competent. It takes a little bit of giving up things at the beginning in order to really just kind of, you know, potentially, you know, create a pretty incredible life for yourself, learning this particular skill set. But you know, again, I tell you this because I'm trying to be honest with you guys. Everybody's going to come in here and blow smoke up your rear end and tell you, listen, 5 minutes, you can learn how to be the best, or you can turn $100 into $1 million overnight. You can, all the stupid stuff that you want to hear, all the lazy things that you want to hear, right? But that isn't the reality. And I don't want you guys jumping in there with that false mindset. I want you to understand, like any other skill set, it's going to take time and effort. Focus, dedication, consistency, patience. It's going to commitment. It's going to take those things. But if you're willing to do that in the beginning to learn it properly and practice it properly, the payoff years and years and decades down the road is just going to continue. But you just have to decide, you know, if that's really something that you want to do. Okay. Let me see here. The Cretan, I found membership is worth it. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, so anyway, these are kind of the realities. Oh, real quick here, before we go on to more charts, guys, before we jump in here. Again, talking about big accounts, talking nonsense. There's a large account online, and they got something like 300,000 or 400,000 followers. And their post said, listen, the Treasury is about to print a whole bunch of money, QE, 100, 200, whatever billion dollars, and they're going to put that liquidity in the market, blah, 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 right? So many things wrong with that statement. So just as a real quick, so in case you guys don't know, I didn't realize how many people don't actually know this. Listen, here in the US, okay, the way it works is, yes, the Treasury physically prints the dollar bills, right? Dollar bills, y'all. But they don't do it until they are told to do it by the Fed. They don't just print willy-nilly whenever they want. It is up to the Fed when and if money gets printed and how it enters the financial system. That's all on the Fed. The Treasury has no way of doing, no say in this at all. Now, the Treasury, what he was looking at is the Treasury is going to have an auction. They're going to auction off their bonds. That's how the Treasury raises money to run the government, you know, in addition to the taxes that you pay. They sell bonds. They issue debt. Investors, foreign countries, you know, things like that. They buy the bonds. There's no new money created to do that. Now, if the Fed decides it wants to do some QE, right, quantitative easing, the Fed can choose to then buy up a large amount of those bonds. But they'll tell you ahead of time that's what they're doing. They don't just not do it. Okay? So a lot wrong with that post. None of it makes any sense. But you guys have to be careful out there. And then I got replies under my post saying, well, of course, you know, it's somebody said some stupid thing after it. I said, it just amazes me how many people don't really understand how this works. And then I got replies under that saying, well, of course we don't. It wasn't taught in school, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. All I hear is whining excuses. Excuses are going to get you nowhere in life, guys. You have to learn it yourself. If you don't know how something works, oh my God, you've got access to ChatGPT now. Cheap. A whole bunch of other AI stuff. Grok. I mean, use the damn thing, guys. Use it. Find out what you need to understand. I promise you, it can be quick and easy and painless. Tell it to explain it to you like you're 5 years old. You can at least get the basic the gist of it, right? The basic idea of what's going on. And then you aren't that person posting that nonsense online. Okay. So again, I bring this up because you guys need to know, it's hard when you don't know what you don't know. But here's me telling you, this is what the reality is. And on top of that, they didn't teach us in school is no excuse. Not today. Not with your access, the palm of your fingers, not that you have, access to basically all the information in the world. I mean, come on. There's no excuse, guys. Don't be lazy. Okay? Troy says, honestly, ChatGPT has been a lifesaver for me on this topic. Very thankful to have it available in this lifetime. It's amazing. Back when I was young, we had to look stuff up in books. We had to use a card catalog at school, at the library. Many of you guys are younger. You go, what the hell's a card catalog? That was our Google back in the day. And it was all manual. It was all written little papers in a cabinet. And that's how we had to do to find our books, which we had to read through and try to comprehend to understand. But anyway, guys, listen, a lot of what I do, if you're new, you may be like, what the hell is this guy rambling on about? I'm a firm believer that how you are in one area of your life is how you are in every area of your life. So the things I teach when it comes to trading and markets and whatnot, a lot of it is based on how do you approach it? Where is your mindset? Talk about your emotions, the psychology, because that is what determines how successful you're going to be in anything that you attempt in life, trading and otherwise. All right. So the Dewey Decimal System. Look at JoJo Crawdaddy up here. I know JoJo's about my age. But anyway, so again, looking for this move up here toward the $135,000, $136,000 area. And that's just the next step, right? That'll be a 3, you'll get a 4, you'll get a 5. But then I believe that's just a bigger 3, you'll get a bigger 4, you'll get a bigger 5. So 5 is looking up there minimally without any overextensions from here on out. You're looking 180, 200,000. Okay. Let me see here. Question. Brian says, sometimes I hear that the big money is suppressing the price of Bitcoin while they are gobbling it up. How is that possible? If they are buying in volume, wouldn't that drive the price up? See, that's why I teach Wyckoff. Wyckoff is an understanding of how the big players are playing, because at the end of the day, they can't hide their footprint. That's the volume price action analysis, right? When the big guys are coming in? Here's one way. Well, here's an example here. Right here. You see the pullback, and then you have this large spike of volume right into this area here. It just happens to be a support area. And that large upper wick there, that's them coming up there. That's them doing it. All right. But yeah, there's a way that things work between futures and spot price, in which you can suppress, I guess you could say, kind of the price. But what it is, it's going to go, right? But you don't even have to understand what's going on with futures. And you don't have to look at any other charts, right? If you want to know what is Bitcoin going to do, all you need is the Bitcoin chart on whatever exchange you're on. But you just have to understand how to read it, which is, again, what we teach, right? That's what I talk about. We teach how and why the market moves the way it does, and how to read that, and how to then forecast that price action. That's what we teach. Some people read, they go, oh, well, you're just teaching Elliott Wave and Wyckoff and price action. Well, we do teach them as tools to understand that. Okay. So, this is, if you don't understand it and you're very questioning anyway, when I talk about these things, you go, yeah, right, whatever. Just follow along for a while. I don't know anybody that gets called as many bottoms as I have over since the 2022 bear market low, both in stocks and crypto. And it's not that I'm anything special. It's just that I've learned these things and I've perfected them over the years. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. So let me see here. So that's that DXY. I do see FiboSwanny sitting in the wings. So I'll pull him up here in a minute, guys. He had some real life corporate stuff to deal with. We can all give him a hard time later. Man, he's not even smiling. Oh, wait, okay, there he is. Now he's smiling a little bit. I was about to say, man, you better be laughing when I tell jokes. Anyway, the DXY, right? Everybody's curious. What's the dollar going to do? What's the dollar doing, right? They got all their opinions. I've been talking for a while now that we've got all this sideways, right? Looks like a flat correction. Looks like it's quite possibly complete here. We had a head and shoulders up here. Target was this area right here. We got it. Looks like 5 waves down. Looks like A, B, C up. We might be done with our rally, our counter turn rally here. Let me see. We almost hit the 50%. So yeah, we could potentially be done here. If we're dropping below this swing low here, by the way, this is the futures chart on the ICE exchange, so it's a little bit different than just the index itself slightly, but you know, it gives us the volume. But dropping down here below 107.335 is likely to indicate we're heading lower. Now, the only thing that would change that is if this is going to be like an ABC, and then 5 waves up as a flat here itself. But nonetheless, this does look like we are topped out. This is wave 1. Wave 2 potentially done here, and we're headed down lower. And so what that would mean is we're most likely headed down to around 90 to 93 at least. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. Yeah, gold's going to continue upward. I know Fibo's got charts on gold here. You guys know I had a triangle on that. I've got a 29.75 pattern target. So we're likely to see it run up to around 3,000 at least. And like I said, Fibo will come up here. I'm sure he's got his charts on that as well. Let me see here. You thought me counting at 5 up and down and then 3 down and drawing crazy lines was utter nonsense? Oh, okay. Turns out it was an actual gold mine of value and alpha. Absolutely changed my life, Tony. Well, we'd love to have you, man. Mark's my favorite Canadian. If you're Canadian, you want to be my favorite Canadian, you're going to have a lot to go up against with Mark here, okay? So that's that. Let me get a couple of charts on here that were requested just at the beginning of the show there and right prior to the show. And then I'll go ahead and bring on Fibo, and then we'll also look at other charts as we get through all this, okay? So let's go through this. RSR, USDT. Looks like we've got a 1 and a 2. That would give us a minimum expected wave 3 target up here at 0.095978. Locally here, so this right here looks like, well, based on the height of this pullback here, we've got 3 waves pullback, and then we broke out. It looks like it might be a triangle. It looks like it's 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. So it's A, B, C. We should get 3 waves up for a lower high, 3 waves down for a higher low to finish this triangle here. And then based on the height of this, we've got a pattern target of 0.052285. So for me, I would look at that as the initial target and then look up here at 0.095978 as the next target on RSR there. You can see here, this is the 4-day. I guess somebody asked for a 4-day chart in the Trading Academy, and I left it on there. But nonetheless, nice, clean, you know, stochastic RSI down here, bouncing out of over, you know, at the bottom of oversold there, crossing bullishly. Looks really good. So I think we got a triangle finishing here. So we'll go up a little bit, then back down, and then we should have that breakout higher. Let me see here. CRV was another one. I really like CRV here. This is very clean. 1, 2, 3, 4. Based on the height of this pullback, we've got a pattern target for wave 5 up at about $2.05. Breaking out above $1.11 or so here will add confidence to this count and say, yeah, that's likely where we're headed. So CRV, this is a 3-day chart. Nonetheless, we got all on that. So I mean, like, you could, if you believe this looks correct here, you could go in right here if you're doing proper risk management. To hit that target would give you just over 8% return on your account with that. So There's that. XRP was another one. This is one I've shown you guys over and over and over again. It does look like we've got a 1 and a 2 out of the triangle here. That gives us a minimum expected wave 3 up at $5.38. Wave 5 of 3 up at around $6.36, 37 cents up in there. So, because it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then it looks like A, and then A, B, C, D, E is a triangle for B, thrust down for C. Again, notice what we're getting. Remember what I was talking about on Bitcoin? Downtrend, large lower wick at support, spike of volume. Burn this into your head, guys. If you have a downtrend, and at the end of that downtrend, you're getting a candle like this, or a doji or whatever, large lower wick, small body toward the top of it, and a spike of volume right there at support. My God, guys, you should be thinking about going long on that. So anyway, that's what we're looking at there with XRP. H-bar was another one. Again, I think we've probably got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of leading diagonal. We got a really deep wave 2 pullback. Clearly a wave 3, large candlesticks, large candle spreads, large spikes of volume coming through it. Part of this wave 3 heading up, right? So based on this being a 1 and a 2, we've got a minimum expected wave 3 target at 0.58238. I don't know why I've got this here as that. And so based on the height of this pullback here, you can see that the pattern target is 0.54555. So basically a little bit less than 4 cents difference. So we should be looking for it to head up this area for the wave 3. Breaking out higher here will get us going up toward that. So H-bar looks good. And of course, we'll pull back on wave 4. And then we'll have a wave 5 higher. Wave 5 right now with the wave 3 target here, wave 5 has a target of $1.08 on that there. Okay. So, so that's what we've got here. Let me see. Let me go and pull up Fibo here. What's going on, Fibo?
What is happening, my friend?
Man, look, see, I do have friends. I hate y'all that say I don't have friends. I do. Troy says, I'm half Canadian. Do I have a chance, sir? Troy, I love you, man. You've been great for so long, but you're going to have to work. I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to have to work really hard because Mark's been working really hard too. Sorry, that was my favorite Canadian thing. I think Mark over there at the Mark Chenard over there at the Crypto Chewy over there at the Academy. So we'll get to some more chart requests here in a few, guys. Let's go ahead and pull up Fibo since he was so kind to join us today.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I made it to have some time with you here. I wanted to kind of go through Bitcoin. It's something I shared with my group yesterday, and I kind of wanted to go through and just kind of look at BTC and what I'm looking at, and then any other charts that we want to take a gander. But let's start off. I'm going to start off with the lower time frame and work my way up. And first of all, we're looking at the hourly here on BTC. We went into the bull zone on the 29th, which was 2 days ago. And when I put the vertical line in here and I set the fibs actually started at this candle right before the threshold. So that's the one I've been following here. So if you actually are trading this, you would have bought it about right here at the market, so about 104.1 or so. And then what would have happened was you would have been like this, and that's where the high was so far. And then it came back down and touched the shallow fib. So you could actually buy it again if you wanted to press your position. Again, that comes with how much basically your exposure and your risk management on how much you want to play there. But the first buy was there, and then it dipped back down to 103.5 and filled again. So there should be two trades if you're trading it the way threshold theory is played. And then it worked its way up here and then hit that first target. So it was a quick target, but it was a target nonetheless that you definitely took a little bit of profit there. Not a ton, but there was enough to where you could take a little bit off the board. And then as it made a new high here, then it came back down to this point, and then you bought the shallow fib again at 104.5, and now it's kind of working its way up to the next target, which is in between the fib extension that I have based off the this is where the bear zone started back here on the fibs, and that's where this first target came from. And then when you get the extensions, it's between 107.1 and 108.2. And then this previous high back here at this point right here falls nicely inside that zone. So that's about where our next target would be. And then after that, if it wants to continue, cranking much, much higher, you're looking at, 112.6 once it gets past this extension. So I wouldn't be surprised for it to come up to this target, work its way back down, and then find some support and then head higher. We are still in the bull zone. The bulls are starting to get some momentum. The ADX is still really low when you look at like kind of the different ranges you can look at from like 0 to 20 or 0 to 25 is usually pretty consolidative. But given that we're on an hour over hour basis and it's starting to turn that direction, I'd like to see it continue that throughout the day and get that ADX kind of cranking back up again. And then that will be a good sign that we can take off to the upside. But in the bull zone, being supported, and so I still like the upside here on the hourly. So when you go over to the 4 hour has not went to bull zone yet. I'm still flat positions on this one because when it went into the bear zone here, it dipped back down, but it didn't get back down to the full retracement or at least back to the start of my threshold here.
Right.
And that's where the target was to buy while in the bear zone. And then so far it's cranked to the upside. Now I put the trend line break in here because if you were playing the trend line break, you would have bought it about the third settle in, or you can wait for a retest to the trend line itself if you want to buy down there and play the trend line break. But I'm not doing that. I just put that in there as a guide if we can get back up above or basically into the bull zone. We're going to be looking at some targets here. So
and what is the target on that trend line break target there?
113.8 is the the distance of that trend line break objective. Now the 200% at 112.6 would likely be that first one that kind of comes into play because as this goes into if it goes into the bull zone, it's going to be right around this area. And then, of course, this is going to be a little bit too close unless you want to take a really, really quick trade. If sometimes when you get into a new bull zone and it's pretty close to the extensions, that's going to be your first line of defense. But if it goes into a bull zone with momentum behind it, most likely it's going to punch through that and then start to test that previous high basically. And then once that breaks out, we can get to our 112, 113 areas. But I'm just kind of patient here. The ADX is increasing; it's up to 18. So on a 4 hour over 4 hour basis, you're starting to see some increase here last 2 or 3 times on the last few candles. So I like to see that increase. But I'd really like to see what comes first for me is the RSI zone. So I need to see it break into the bull zone. It got really close right here. As it came up and broke right there. But I mean, you could buy it and front run it, but I always wait for the actual signal because that could be a sign that it's going to come back down. Who knows? So there could be enough buying in here or selling in here to kind of halt it and kind of bring it back down into some of the lower targets I had on here that I was waiting to buy while in the bear zone. Didn't hit right here, but I have them in there still in case this thing falls out of bed. But
was that where on the 4 hour there where it almost went to the bull zone? Is that what you were mentioning this morning in the academy? I saw you were like it needs to get up there within like the next few minutes or something.
Oh no, that was something else. That was something different.
Man, see, well, I tried to pay attention, guys. Man, I thought I was gonna look cool here to be like, look, I was paying attention, I saw it. And obviously,
there's a bunch going on, but yeah, I wanted to get the bull zone, which didn't happen. and it didn't happen again. So I'm just going to wait this one out and see what happens. But keep in mind, when we look down at this 91, 126 to 92.9 area here, this is going to be a pretty significant level when you look at some of these other time frames. So I'm cautiously optimistic that I'm still leaning on the bullish side with the hourly being bull. I'm being cautiously optimistic because the 4 hour has not clicked back into bullish. I'll be a little bit more comfortable once this 4 hour starts to get back into a bull zone and starts cranking to the upside. But until then, I'm going to be cautious and kind of watch my exposure, those kind of things. But keep in mind on this number here, because you're going to see it a lot on these other time frames. So when you go over to the daily's looking decent. Been in the bull zone for a while, had lots of nice trades in here. Came back down, hit the shallow fib, working our way up. I'm long 20% right now on my daily from around 89K. I think it was right at 89, 86, somewhere right around in there on those two trades. And so I've been waiting to get to these targets because these two targets is where my 10% each is at. And one of them is at 117.4 and the other one's at 118.7. The trend line break here on this trend line break, as it came up and then retested, started to head back to the upside. That's that 117.4. And then the 118.8 is a trend-based extension that I started right here. And that's based off, I don't have it on here, but there's a trend line in here that breaks and then resets right here. So that's where I started that psychology change for the next wave up. Not Elliott wave up, but, movement up, motive wave up the upside. So I took that trend-based extension, and that's where that first target comes in at 118.8. So that's where my limit orders are to take my profit if it wants to crank up there. But another thing that I want to focus on is if this starts to sell off and go back down toward the shallow fib. The shallow fib right now is pretty close to that 91 or 90.2 basically. So when you look over at that 4 hour, that's where this kind of comes into play down in here in these low 90s. And the other thing would be is, yes, this would go into the bear zone if it got down to 96.4. But the shallow fib should be bought because that's the area that needs to have 3 consecutive settles underneath of it to bring it to an actual bearish market. So if this actually sells off and corrects back and it gets below that 96.4 and it goes into the bear zone, I'll reduce 10% because right now I have 20% on. And the way I approach my risk management is if it comes down there and it clicks into that 96.4 and it goes into the bear zone, I'm going to reduce everything down to 10%. So since I have 20% on, I'm going to sell 10% to reduce my exposure just to kind of respect that bear zone because you just don't know what's going to happen. So I would sell the 10%, which would be in profit because I'm long at about 89 or so. So that would take profit. And then the other 10% I will just hold in case this thing starts rallying back up. But if it ends up going further down, I'll add back in at 90.187 there on that shallow fib to get back to 20%. And then if we get 3 consecutive settles underneath that shallow fib at 91.87, then I'm out of all 20%. And then I'll be looking for, mid to low 70s, most likely, if that happens. A lot of ifs and a lot of steps before it gets there, but that's kind of how I'm approaching the daily here, is just kind of being patient and see if this thing wants to get up and get some of my targets in there. So that's where I'm at on that.
So y'all are listening, right? I need to interrupt him to make sure you guys are listening. He did not say that is where it's going and oh my God and whatever. He said, if we get this happening and this happening, then there's our next target. And if we get that happening and that happening behind it, then we look at 71,000. Okay. I need you guys to make sure you're listening here because the last thing we want, if you run out and go, oh, Fibo said the sky is falling. Fibo said the sky is falling. Chicken Little here running around, right? No,
we're pretty far away from that. We'd have to go all the way down to 90,000 here and then get 3 daily settlements underneath that 90,000. And then I'll consider mid 70s. But until then, I'm a buyer on any dips toward that 91 area. and I'll add positions on here. And then I'll also have positions on my 4 hour because I'll buy a little bit here at this target. And then if it wants to continue falling, I'm going to buy some more in this zone. And these zones are that first line of defense that I like to look for to see if it's going to reverse back or not. And if not, and if it ends up breaking, then we're going to look at much further pricing to the downside. So that's how I'm approaching that. And another thing that's interesting is when you look at the weekly, definitely been in the bull zone. There was an area in here that there's that trend line. Basically, that's that trend line that I didn't have drawn on the daily. But the when it broke out right here, this is where I started the extension there, and that's where that 117.9 comes in. So that's kind of where that daily target kind of comes from too, is just the start of that the break of that trend line. But what I also liked is this latest leg to the upside here, the 91.8 when it came down here. It got to 91.187 as that low, but that 91.871 was the 38.2% level. So now that we got this move to the upside and it came back down and held that as support and is working its way up, that 117.9 is still in play, and everything still looks, bullish to the upside when it comes to the weekly here. So again, it could. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up correcting back, and if it does, that's where that 91.187 comes into play again, to where it could come back down in there to find some buying interest before heading back to 117, or it could just start to crank from here if we get into that 4 hour bull zone and start taking off from there. So basically, if it corrects back to that area, I am a buyer in those low 90s, with definitely the weekly and the daily and everything else still remaining relatively bullish, as long as all that support level that we've been talking about holds. So everything looks good on the daily and the weekly. Just a little bit of a correction. Got that 4 hour into the bear zone. We just need to get that 4 hour back cranking again, and we'll be golden and get that thing rocking and rolling. But that's really all I have on here. But the thing is with this one, if this ends up breaking the 91.187 here, this trend line intersection of this trend line that we're on, and then the shallow fib. So the shallow fib for the weekly is at 74.7. So that's kind of where that mid 70s kind of comes in for me, is if that daily starts to break down and gets those three settles under that 91 area, on that level that we were looking at over here on the daily. If it gets down three settles below this 91.87, that's gonna open up a lot of risk here. And then that's where that shallow fib comes in at 75 basically on the weekly. So that's why I would be waiting for much, much lower pricing if that happens. Now here's the kicker. It could go all the way down to 75K and still maintain bullish structure going forward. So because when this goes all the way down to 75, you can see down here, the bear zone doesn't go bearish until 69.9. So unless it gets to 69.9 and below, that would be a whole different ball game and a switch from the primary trend from the bulls to the bears. If it gets down back below that 69.9 area or lower, I don't think that's going to happen. But that's why you have risk management, and that's why you have steps in play to know what to do if things like that happen. So, but that's where I'm kind of at. I'm going to be looking to buy low 90s. If I get stopped out, then I'll just be patient and kind of wait for the mid 70s. The 4 hour, I think, is probably like low 80s. So you could probably get some 4 hour trades in there, buying the low 80s, pop it back up and get some trades on the 4 hour. But like daily and weekly, I'd be waiting for those low 70s to get my longer term trades back in. So I'd be leaning a little bit more toward the earlier time frames to do some trading, and while I'm waiting, as we're correcting back down to the 75. But I'm not saying that's going to happen. Let's kind of go with what we have here. And right now, support is holding really well, and nothing is really remotely strongly bearish. So I'm still going to lean toward upside. Now, lastly, on the monthly, I put this out on X. This is something that I like to look at also when it comes to the three settles. When you look at the previous high here at that 69 we had, and we went down to the low, once you broke out here, you got these the fib extensions, right? And that's typically your first line of defense that I like to see before a reversal. Well, we broke right through it to where that 91,156 there is now support, because we're going to have 3 consecutive settles on a monthly basis above that point. Now, this is where I'm saying, just because we have the 3 settles doesn't mean we can't correct back to that the 141% level at that 91,156. And that's why that level is really important when you look at the daily and the 4-hour and some of those other targets on the downside that are all buying opportunities. So that would also be on the monthly. So when it comes down to that 91, you're going to want to be buying into those low 90s with upside potential to that next resistance point. Because when you look back historically and you take, you can do this with anything. Just pull up a weekly. Usually a weekly is probably the easiest one. So like if you looked up like Tesla or some other stock or some other commodity or whatever, and you just take some absolute highs and some absolute lows. Like this case here, you had a high here, and then you definitely had a low. And as it started to work up here, these are pretty significant highs and lows, and they're easy to find, right? If you take those and then you look at the extension that the fibs create off of making a new high, you look at those extensions and then go back and see how many times it's done it. I mean, go look back 5-10 years and just do a few of them. You'd be surprised on how many times, once it breaks that 3 settlements above the 141%, on how the probability gets really high that it goes to the 200% as a target. Not to say that it's guaranteed, but it definitely increases the probability. Because if you go back and you look at it, like, it happened like 30 times in the last 10 years, and 27 out of the 30 times, once it broke that and created support, it made it to the 200%. That's a pretty high probability that it's a high probability trade that could happen. Now, it's not guaranteed, but it does increase that probability that we can get to the 122. Now, what would decrease the 122 is if we had that third settle back below it, then that would say, okay, it's done, topped out, we're moving down, look for large corrections. But in this case, we blew right through it. That second month came down and retested it. Then we went into the next month, tested it again, and then we've rallied off of it. So there's a lot of buying interest at that 91.2 area. So that's why I like having that third settle, and then having that as a really key support level now. And then you get that range between 91 to 122 open for some kick-ass action, hopefully. So that's my BTC. So that's what I'm just kind of looking at there. So everything kind of working together. Low 90s as a buy, stop it out with 3 settles underneath those shallow fibs that I showed on the other charts. And that's pretty much how I am approaching BTC. So I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, kind of waiting things out here. Right. Ethereum just went bull. Just bought, went up, actually came back down and hit the shallow fib. I went ahead and bought again. I'm 20% long ETH right now because I bought at the bull zone. Oh, that says bear zone. Let's not have it say that. That's terrible. All right. All right, new bull zone. So bull zone hit and then dropped down the shallow fib. So I got a little bit of an average in there. Let me see where I'm at. 34.28 was my first fill, and then 33.95 is my second fill. My take profit is at 36.38 and 38.86 are those 2 levels on ETH. So I just got that in there. And then these are the targets that are marked on there. First of all, the 200% comes into play right here. That's that first level that I have there to take profit. So hopefully we can get up there and get that profit taken. And then once that hits, then what I did was I went back into history to set the new one. And this 200% right here matches really nicely with the start of this bearish zone, working to the downside. So that's where I'm starting to fibs there to go to the upside here to find where that next level would be. And this threshold started right there within this zone, and that's where that next target comes from. So long 20%, I'll sell 10% there, sell 10% there. And then, of course, if it rallies up and hits targets like that, the shallow fib does come into play to buy on dips, and then much further upside targets would come into play after that. So,
what you're saying is Ethereum isn't dead.
As of right now, no. I mean, the momentum's not super strong. It's trying. It's getting back up to 20. But this next 4-hour candle, I'd like for it to keep that positive change on the ADX. Even though it's dipping down, it still looks like it still might be on that move to the upside since we broke that trend line. And then, of course, the trend line break objective is in there too for later on targets. So if I get any more bought, that would be kind of the next level to watch, because that would be above the extension here at 41.14, and then again the 200% would be a target once we get the 3 settles above that 141. So that's where the kind of the next targets are. So I don't know if it's dead yet, but it went into the bull zone, and it's something I typically trade. So
it's not dead. It's not dead.
Nope.
Sentiment is so garbage right now. It's perfect for it to rally.
Yeah, and that's why I don't listen to all that garbage. I listen to it. So right now we're in it to see where it heads. Now, the thing that makes me not nervous, but I'm not super, gung ho just yet on this, is because when you look at the daily is not bullish yet. Doesn't mean that it can't get there, and it's trying. As you can see, this latest move to the upside here, trying to get this thing back going on the bull on a bullish move here. Now the ADX is dropping a little bit as price is approaching, so it's getting a little bit more of that consolidative look. But if this daily ends up going into a bull zone, then you're looking at 4,000, 4,500 as some targets to the upside. So when you look at it on here, 4,000 to 4,500 would get all of our targets in here. So if that daily can go bull, I'll be a lot more comfortable. But I just play my system, and if it tells me to buy on the things I normally trade, that's why I'm in it. So we'll see what happens.
Go to that other chart. I guess it's the daily.
Yeah, the daily.
Yeah, look at can you do your descending resistance extension thing right there at the local? Yeah, right.
Oh, you mean on the trend based?
Well, yeah, just what you did where you draw that same kind of thing there, but do it on the closer one to where we're at here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, so you see how you've got the descending the lower highs coming down to give you that resistance that it looks like the current thing is just pushing out above. If you draw it from the top though, from the draw the resistance, the diagonal resistance. I'm going to do hand gestures here. Draw the diagonal resistance from Well, just bring it down like they normally do it. And can you do your extension thing that you do with the arrow?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, man. I don't know what it's called. I know you've said it. I forgot what it was called, but I'm trying to.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to see where that's going with that.
I usually I'll take the furthest point from the trend line. Let me put that on there because the magnet is hitting it right there. I'll take it to I'll take the furthest point underneath the trend line to the trend line itself. Now this might actually be a further distance here. So you'd actually want to use this one up to this point, because that's the furthest one underneath here. So that's the one I would take, and then I would clone that just to get the same rate of change. And if this, I usually wait for 3 settles, but even if we get the 3 settles, you do it from the break point. So the break point's right there. So you're looking at you're looking at roughly 43.30 maybe.
So pretty close to the other one you have there, the other target area with the other arrow.
Yeah, from this trend line. Yeah, because this trend line break came up and then it came back down and retested, but it only retested right here. So basically we went up and had a full retracement back. So this target would still be in play. I'm sure that you probably would have sold it from hitting other things, but if you were just doing the trend line break and you're holding out for it, then it's still in play because it never really broke that support down here.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you're looking at, I mean, it's one of those things where you can, it doesn't have to be exact, but you can kind of look at this range right in here. So if you're long, anywhere in that range could be a profit taking area when it comes to the two different trend lines there. So I mean, that's how. I mean, right now I'm not in ETH on daily, but if it goes bull, if it goes bullish here, first of all, you have to have 3 settles above the 38.2. There's been 1, there's been 2. So if this actually went bull and got the third one, then you'd have a market buy depending on where it ended up, and then that first target's at the 100%. But if it actually ends up rallying a little bit where it's too close, and when I say too close, I'd rather take the risk of going to the extension. If I'm only like a percent away or 1.5% away from a target, I'll just kind of just bypass that one and go to the next one. And then, of course, if I do something like that, I'll typically try to put in some trailing stops because I'm already buying a little higher than I really want, and it's already hitting a target. And if I'm not taking that target, then that's opening up more risk. So I want to move my stop up to where, in case that does fall back on me, I'm not going to lose my ass on it. So so basically, if we get into a bull zone here, the 3,900, $4,000, right in there, basically right around testing those highs would be an area where I would take profit, because most likely you're going to get a lot of selling interest on that previous high, and then hopefully it would come down and hit a new shallow fib based on where the fibs are with the new bull zone, and then get bought again and then work to that next target. But for now, nothing. I'm just waiting out for the bull zone at the moment. But yeah, both trend lines look pretty good to give you a little bit of a zone to look for on a breakout to price discovery. So that's where that's at. Gold, real quick. Gold's been bull, worked its way up. We hit our target. I had a target at 28.16, which hit, and then the next target's up between 28.76 and 29.07. I just took the trend line break. The arrow's right here. I just moved it over. So when you bring that over to this point, that gives you the target there at 28.94 as your next target to the upside. So right now I'm not in gold anymore because I took the profit. So I'm waiting for a shallow fib or a correction back down to the shallow fib, which is currently at 27.76, which is just about 10 points above where the bear zone would start. So if this actually comes down, I'd definitely be a buyer here with that next target in play. Or if it gets up to this target, and then that, of course, the shallow fib would be a little higher, and then I buy the shallow fib there with the next target being the 200%. Because we're already taking care of the target within that zone. So we'll have to kind of see what happens there. But gold's been great, made some really good money the last couple of trades, moving to the upside. So now I'm just kind of waiting to see either buying it there, or if this thing wants to just really continue to rally on out of here. I don't buy it again until there's 3 settles above the 141. So if this actually continues to go, I won't buy it until it has 3 settles above it, if it never wants to correct back. Now, it's a little bit more risky that way, and you're going to have to put in some pretty good stops because, futures markets can run you over like a freaking freight train if you're not careful with it when you're doing that. I mean, it's any leverage. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of leverage you put on. It could eat you up pretty fast. So that's where I'm at on gold. Gold on the daily. Been bull for a while. And really just kind of an ugly pattern in here. But it went bull and then hit our target at the 28.45. So there was a buy into the bull zone, and then you got your target. So everything worked well there. Now I'm just waiting for the shallow fib at 27.95. If it wants to dip back down to that point, I'll buy it, and then the next target at about 3,000 will be the next one. So that's where we're at on gold. So far, gold looking pretty good, pretty decent trades lately. Dollar, Dollar to me is still bear. It came down, worked its way back up, did not go into the bull zone. Not a lot of momentum. So sideways to lower. I just been waiting for this fib extension target to even consider buying it down into this 106 and some change. And then that's been about it. I've been waiting to see if it got into a bull zone. So if you're a person that's really into correlations and all that, the inverse correlation, you guys like to see the dollar dropping so Bitcoin will go up, right? But if that's the case, then we're still in the bear zone on dollar. So maybe we'll still continue to the downside here. SPY getting ready to possibly go. It's in the bull zone at the moment, but we still have an hour. So even though it went into the RSI bull, I have to wait for the close. So in an hour, if this is still above here and it's in the bull zone, it will be a buy, and then the target will be 62.23.50, which is the 200%. Because what would happen is if this actually goes into this next click would be the bull zone, and then what would happen is you would bring this back over to this would become a previous shallow fib. Well, we're well above it, so this extension is the first level that I would look for, but we're just getting back into it right here. So buying into this would bring the 200% in as the next target. So that's how that would look when it comes to that next target there. And then we would set our fibs, go in that direction. So, but since we're not there yet, when we have an hour, we're going to wait that one out and see if we can get the bull zone. So, but right now it's there. We just gotta see if it's gonna click back into it or not. But that's on the 4 hour, and then on the daily. Daily's been bull. Went into the bull up on the high. Been sweating your nuts off there for a while. It went down pretty hard, all the way down to, pretty quick. But still bull zone. If you're still playing it, you're pretty much back to break even with a target of 62.01 and a half. That's the 200%. That's what the target was before. So if you still have it on your books, it's there. It's just been a while and a weird pattern, but still bull, still upside potential. And with this still being in the bull zone for the daily, that's why I'd be pretty comfortable grabbing this 4 hour if it gets into the bull zone here in just under an hour. So that's what I got for some charts. Unless you wanted to see, that's all I had. That's all I had open when I got here. So
that works, man. That works. I know people are really grateful for it. I mean, you can hang out if you want. I'm going to do some more chart requests here, or if you've got to go.
No, you go ahead and do some chart requests. If I have any color on some of the ones you pull up, I can throw that out.
The green and red color. I mean, your chart.
Adding color, like a color comment.
All right. So let me jump in here. I was kind of paying attention here to what we had. Let me see. Somebody was asking for OP USDT. I think the big picture here, it looks like we've got a leading diagonal, and then we've got a flat correction here as an ending diagonal, as a descending wedge. And then we've got the, again, a leading diagonal here for 1, 2. And it looks like what we had here is we've got 3 up here, 4, and then 5. And then we pulled back 78.6, found support at the S1 pivot here on the daily. This is the 4-day chart. There we go. And so what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a breakout above this swing high at $2.18.5 basically. That's going to add confidence to the count and give us a minimum expected wave 3 target up here at $6.20. So I think the setup's there. It's looking pretty good. We want some, confirmation here. If you were to go long from here, there is absolutely no reason you should put your stop loss any further than just the swing low here, because with where we're at, it could drop down below this wave 2 here, and that just invalidates the count completely. So if you were to go long, if you said, man, this looks good, I don't want to wait for this, I want to try and get in here, I would say you got to put your stop loss just below this recent swing low, guys. And so if you were right on that wave 3 will give you about a 23 R on that trade, which is pretty freaking amazing. Again, doing proper risk management, of course, but you're talking about 23% return on your account, on your trading account. So if your trading account's 10 grand, you'd be making $2,300 on that just to get up to wave 3. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me get back up over here. Oh, what were the questions here? They were SWFT. Oh, this is I can't do it on this. I got to do it over here where I've got my chart saved. So I had a question on SWFTCUSD. If you're in with us, you know that last night's market wrap, I was talking about this. Looking for a breakout above 0.027719 to add confidence to this count, this being a wave 4. And then that gives us a pattern target based on the height here of around 0.060170. We do have some volume coming in, as you can see here, as we're kind of breaching the top. So, but breaking through here, this is my target area from where we're at there. So what you might want to do is wait to get a pullback. If you start seeing a pullback, just grab your retracement tool. And so this looks like a 1 and a 2, and then this is a 3. So wherever you get it at, pull it from that higher low to wherever that swing ends up being before it pulls back, and then look for a reversal around the 38.2 or the 50%. Those would be your target areas on that wave 4 pullback to head up, finishing up higher there if you're interested in that. But I know somebody did ask about that one. Let me see here. I forgot. I was doing them and then I forgot what they were. Let me see here. LCX. Where's my charts here? Let's go in here.
LCX.
Oh, TUSDT. This was asked for on the weekly they wanted. So we've got a 1 and then ABC, ABC, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it's a flat correction, very deep flat correction, almost the swing low here. In terms of Wyckoff, again, you have your buying or your selling climax down here, automatic rally, secondary test, your up thrust here in phase B. And so we have a lot of volatility, which is what we usually expect through phase B. But then when phase B goes into phase C, this is exactly what we're looking for. Drop off in volume at that point. Everybody's fighting here, but at this point, in accumulation or reaccumulation, supply should pretty much give up. Retail should pretty much give up. And so you see this fall down on really low volume. We printed it's not actually a spring. It's a last point of support because it doesn't break down below the range support here. We got this nice breakout right here and retest, continuation up. So, I mean, it looks good to me as a 1 and a 2. That gives us a minimum expected wave 3 up there at just about 16 cents. Locally here, we're looking for an impulsive breakout and close above this descending resistance. You can look for a weekly impulsive breakout and close, weekly candle above the weekly pivot here at 0.0359 or so, if you want to look for that as confirmation that low is likely in. But again, looking for that target up there. What other ones did we have here? We had LCX USD. This one just locally right here. I like the pullback into just right here around this weekly pivot. Looks like it's 3 waves down. We need a breakout above basically 30 cents here, this swing high. So we're almost here with this one. It was 29 cents, but we need a breakout above 30 cents right here. And if we can get that, that should indicate that we're headed up higher. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would give us, based on the height here, a pattern target of about just about 63 cents here, almost 63 cents, 62.87 as our wave 5 locally here. So again, you'd be looking at a 1, 2, clearly wave 3, large candle spreads, large volume. There's your 4 and your pullback. There's your 5. We can measure out this pullback here. And it's right there just prior to the 50%, right here in the low volume node. I mean, it's what we want to see. We just want that breakout above that 0.3008 here. Want that breakout above that to get us on that move up higher for LCX. What else do we have here? Somebody was mentioning my Euro.
I don't have any of those charts.
You don't have any of those? I didn't either.
Yeah,
Well, other than what I did at the market wrap, so like SWFCT, I did that one. You know, we've had a lot of good runs off those here lately. The charts that I'm telling people about in that.
Cool.
Euro USD here, folks. Again, it's just basically a flip of the DXY. If you look at the DXY here, you see it's a move down, triangle finish, and then flat correction. Euro USD is a move up, triangle finish, flat correction. Why does that happen? For those of you that don't know, the DXY is a weighted average. And one of the pairs on that is the Euro USD, and it makes up by far the greatest weight. It's like 50, what is it, like 54% or something like that, I think. So those charts are going to look very significantly similar. So if you want to trade like the DXY, but you don't want to, you know, join the ICE exchange to do it, you can just trade the Euro USD. And, you know, you'll just look at the opposite of what you'd be looking for the DXY there. And they run pretty close together when they do it, guys. So that's something to look at there. Prime USD. This is another one I discussed last night. We were looking for a breakout here. It didn't happen. We're coming down. So it looks like we're getting our ARBRC here. We've got a 1-2, and it looks like a 1-2 in progress. So the next target to the downside here is the 61.8. And that gets you about $9.80. Below that, 70.5 at $9.64.5, or the 78.6 at $9.49.5 would be my targets. Looking for a breakout above $10, 10.576. That I have confidence to count and suggest that wave circle 3 is in progress. If we do it right here for the 61.8, that'll give us a target up there of about $13 and almost 40 cents, 39.5 cents. And then that would lead to the 1, 2, 3 up here at around $14.41.5 cents, which gets us wave 5 up here around $16. And again, we're getting 5 waves up around this previous swing here, which is what we usually look for. So Prime also looking good.
Prime looking.
Let me see here. Prime looking pretty prime. Yeah. As long as we can get this reversal here, it's good. But again, you know, this is another one I gave in the market wrap last night. And so it looks like it's setting up here. Let me see. Am I missing something here? Just kind of running through these comments here to see what they're looking at there. We got you did put Ethereum on there. You put it on there. I'm all about Ethereum. Anybody's following me knows. I love it when sentiment gets to the way it's been here lately. Everybody's pretty much given up on it. They give you every reason in the world why it can't possibly go. And yet more and more money keeps pouring into it. So that was great stuff on Ethereum there.
Yep.
Let me see here. What else you guys got here? Degen. I think I can do it on this on my on Coinbase here. I think there's a Degen on Coinbase.
I don't think I'm degen enough. I don't have any of these charts built out.
Don't be a degenerate.
Oh, I think I do that. I do have degen.
Here.
I have to update it, but
see, you were talking smack. You are a degenerate, just like all the rest of us. This looks like 1, 2, looks like 3, 4, looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So I think the low is in here. We've got big candle. Well, we've got this this rejection, this rally up and rejection, and that they just fell down on low volume. And here we go trying to rally back up. We're just kind of coming right in that resistance. I don't like that. I don't like it missing that middle part there. But let me zoom in a little bit here. Well, what's the weekly look like? Look at that weekly. Man, that's a great sweep with the low over here on the weekly. Like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. We should be good to go, guys. We swept liquidity here. Right up, we're leaving almost a hammer candle here. We've got till Sunday, 12 a.m. UTC when this candle closes. So you can watch that if you want.
Do you have any targets on that, or?
Yeah, I'm about to look at that right here.
Okay.
If I'm looking at this real quick, this looks like 1, 2. This looks like that won't be 1, 2 here unless it's a 1, 2, 1, 2. Because you can't have the overlapping price action on a wave 3. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So that's probably a 1 and a 2 here. Yeah, again, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. No, it's kind of iffy. Let me see. You got a chart on this?
Sort of. I got a 4 hour.
You want me to pull it up while I'm looking at this?
Yeah.
Right,
I don't have it all cleaned up yet, but went into the bull zone.
They like us dirty, man. It's all good.
Went into the bull zone right here. Starting to work its way up. So fibs would have been pretty much a start right there. So basically, you're in the bull zone, and then if you want an early target, it's going to be right at this point in the middle of the zone there at 787. But that's going to be that's one of those deals where it's awfully close. But if you bought and then it dipped back down to the shallow fib and you bought again, then this would be your first target. And then the second target would be 897, which would be the 200%. So definitely went back into the bull zone. But again, it went into the bull zone right here and then ended up crashing. But I don't know. This one's not the best looking one in the world, but it is bull zone at the moment. So you do have a little bit of support that's coming into the market. And it looks like a little bit of I guess I don't know what kind of pattern you would call it, but this is a little bit of a break to where that would come into play on this break right here. But other than that, nothing to write home about. But
yeah,
it's starting to lean toward that side, but it's not super strong yet.
Yeah, let me see here. Here's what I've got. I was looking at it. It looks
that
like
was the
it could
4 hour.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here on the 1 hour right now to kind of see the breakdowns here. But it looks like it's an ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. So to me, it looks like it's a leading diagonal. Wave 3 is just slightly bigger than wave 1. And, we're good to go with that. So a 50% pullback, if we get it, would be about 0.0066. But often with leading diagonals, we'll only get around a 38.2 pullback. So that would be my initial target. And that's right there around the sideways that you were looking at, the pull across. That resistance you were looking at, it's right around that same horizontal level at about 0.0685.
Yeah, 688 was mine.
Yeah. So I think that's a good initial target. If it does break down lower, look at the 50% there, and then the 61.8 at 0.06360. If we get the 38.2, wave 3 will have a minimum target of 0.11518. If we get the 50%, it'll be a little bit lower there at 0.11088. And if we get the 61.8, pulling back in there, it'll be 0.10675. So if that was quick, I understand. But hey, you guys can always watch this afterward and pause and whatnot with it. So But yeah, I think we're getting that pullback there. And as long as we can do that, we're looking for 3 waves on the pullback into that. That gets that movement up there and it starts looking really good. Again, from the bigger picture, it does appear to be 5 waves down. So that would complete the pullback there. And we should be looking for it to go up, generally speaking, off that. So not hating it. Not that I'm a degen, but I'm not hating it on there. Let me see here. AVE USD. Let's see where we at here. Didn't that used to be Lend? AAVE? Used to be Lend. Let me see here.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like back in the day. Some of the stuff back in the day. Stupid stuff. Okay. The one thing I like about this is I like the pullback into the weekly pivot here and then the rally back off it. So I would say, let me see here. That's a 1 and a 2 here. A little bit higher. I would say we would, let me look at it this way. If we measure out 1 and 2 here. Yeah, so I would think we've got this. Let me zoom out a little bit more. Look at that monthly chart. It looks great. Again, looks like we've got a 1 and a 2 here, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us a 1, 2. Yeah, so it looks like 1, 2. It looks like we've got this 3 up here at 480, 370. So based on the height here of this local pullback, that should get us right up around that same area. So we've got ABC here. Based on the height there, it gets us a little bit higher, actually. It gets us up there at around 526. Is that? Looks like a 1 and then a flat here. Unless this is printing a triangle. This could be printing a triangle. In which case, we'd look up there around 526. But if this is a flat right here, we'd be looking about the same area, 526. So I'm looking up there close to 520, 524, 526 for this next target on the move up, guys. To be that wave 3, that interior wave 3 there on that. Jump in if you got anything anytime, man.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at some things. I was looking at someone had AR USDT. That's the one I was kind of looking at.
You want me to pull your chart up?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
I was taking a look at. I think it was AR USDT. Yeah. That's the one someone was looking at. Went into the bull zone. Right at this point, you'd be long at about 15, basically almost back down where we are. But the market order would have been right around 15.6, with the first target being this break at 1702. But if you want to go all the way up to the extension, the best fit line in here is right around 1769. So that's basically where the upside is, but definitely got some bullish momentum behind it. Definitely back in the bull zone, and then taking the measurements off this previous bear zone. That's where our targets are. So if you're long at anywhere in the low 15s, 1769 is going to be the next one to look for. So looking pretty decent, even though it's correcting back a little bit. It's still a lot of room in the bull zone. So to come down here to test the 61.8% at 1540 would not be the worst thing in the world. But I still like the upside on this one. I mean, even if you took like a just to look at like this latest move right here, if this ends up being the low here or goes a little bit lower down to the 61.8% level, you're looking right at the top of the range. So I like 1769 as a take profit level.
Okay. All right.
But that's
Let me see
all I
here.
got for that one. I didn't have any other time frames.
Let's see. I have nothing for this. This is DMT USDT. We got the breakdown here based on the height of this pullback. We just about hit that target area. We're getting a nice impulsive breakout and close above the descending resistance here on the daily. So large candle spread, large spike of volume. By the way, look at the volume right here previous to it. Let me zoom in here a bit for you guys. Look at this with this large upper wick here and comes down. Look at all that volume spike there. And then slightly more volume on the next one. It just cleared the way. It cleared out the supply that was sitting here in this candle on the 25th and just took on up there into the resistance. Let me see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. This looks like we got one more push up here. It's kind of a short pullback though. So I was looking at this count kind of like this. 1, 2, 4, 5. Actually, let's make that a little bit bigger there. And then I was looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Interior, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. All the wave threes look fine. They don't look like they're shortest anywhere. If I'm looking at this, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't know, do we get 3 up and then come on back down here toward this 38.2, hit the fair value gap here for the 4 hour? Possible. Let me zoom in a little bit more here and see what we got going on. Where's that swing low? 25.58, 25.59. Okay, so I think this is what happened. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3 here, and then A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. C is a flat. 25.85 right there. And then this looks like a wave 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, probably getting a 5 up into this supply here. We'll pull back and then we'll head up higher. But it looks right now like that's the wave 4 there. So wave 5, based on the height of this pullback, should be up here around the R2 pivot on the hourly, just prior to that at about $31.09. This looks like this will push up into here a little bit. And then we'll get a pullback. Yeah, so it might get us pushed up a little bit beyond that, but I would expect this supply structure right here to hold as resistance and then get the pullback. And then, of course, that would be like a 1 and a 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up around this area to get it. So looks pretty all right. Looks pretty all right. Let me see here. Tillman, I see Tillman's here. He says, Wind Moon. Thoughts on, what is that, FLR? Is that what that is, Tillman? I don't even know what the heck's FLR. Is that crypto or is that stock?
FLR.
Is that what you're talking about? Fluid Corporation? FLR. There's a Flare. I think he may be talking about Flare. I think. So let me see here. FLR USDT.
FLR, huh?
FLR. I've charted it before. It does sound familiar. Let me see here. Anybody that watches our Wednesday show knows who Till. What was that?
I said I have it, but it needs updated.
Oh, come on.
In other words, I have the zones. So I'm just seeing if they still.
But are you in the zone?
Always.
That's the question.
Always in the zone.
You guys heard it here. Fibo says he's always in the zone. Let me see here. Leave it to Tillman to pick an ugly chart. No, I'm kidding. 2, 3, 4. Looks like it's 5 done. I'm just going to razz him a bit and see if he actually shows up.
Can you get one that's a little more bullish looking? Or I'm just kidding.
Right? Something nice and easy to go, yeah, look, of course it's going up.
Yeah.
Weekly, it looks like we've got 5 up here. Looks like we're back on 3. That's probably closer to a 78.6 pullback. Yep, almost exactly. Let me zoom in a bit here.
Yeah, I don't
1,
know
2,
if I
3.
use a call on this or not.
4, 5. So locally here, this is what I'm looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a triangle for 4 here. So A, B, C, D, E. Right here. That gives us our thrust up here for 5. Pull back, probably just around 50%, it looks like. Yep, just shy of 50% on that. And then, of course, we've got what appears to be 3 here. So, yeah, so I think this local, we got a 1, we got a 2. Big picture 3. Or bigger picture 3 here on the daily. Gets us a target of where? Minimum expected up there around 14.5 cents or so, 0.1466. Locally, we've got a 1 and a 2 here. Does appear to be a 1 and a 2. Breakout above this swing high up here at 0.03097 is going to add confidence to the count. To this local count here, and that gives us a wave 3 up there at around 0.4326. That's locally. But that bigger one looks like we're headed up here for wave 3 up around just beyond 14.5 cents for flare there. You working on that chart?
Yeah, I was just trying to see where some of my targets were.
Well, good.
We are
We're
in
gonna
the
put you on the spot.
Oh, that's fine. Wouldn't be the first time. Right now, I mean, it's definitely bull zone, but the momentum is just trash. So a lot more consolidation coming into play, but we're looking at. I mean, we went into the bull zone right here. So you would have been buying right here almost on that local high right there and working our way down. Held the bull zone right there, which is, on this move to the downside. So that's a good sign. But the momentum is just trash. So you're looking at
not in there yet.
Just a lot more just more consolidation, it looks like. So you got this move right here that kind of held up on this point. So this is going to be kind of your look there. And then the lower part down here. So, I mean, as long as you're in this area, I wouldn't really be doing much, really. But I mean, if you're playing this, it bought and then it hit. Basically, you bought and then it wicked up and hit the 200%. So unless you're just like kind of scalping it like super quick, that would have been a trade, and then you would have been buying back on the drop right there, basically right back in again. But then you'd be underwater. But the next move out, when I look back in history here, is going to be 35.18 up at the extension. So if you are long that's going to be the target at the moment, is 0.03518. But right now it looks just sideways to not much. I mean, it leans upside, because you got the move and then you got the consolidation and a possible move to the upside, but just not a lot of momentum yet. But right now, sideways to higher is kind of my call on it at the moment. Nothing great.
Yeah, see, that's why I said that even with looking at mine on that most recent pullback there, right before the recent, one candle up and the current candle pulling back, you see that's 3 waves down. You got a red candle down, couple of green candles up and then a whole bunch of red candles down.
Yeah,
that's why I said that, that wave B, that pull up along the way. We got to get above that to kind of say, okay, well, yeah, that's probably corrective there and it's heading up higher. So yeah. Until then, I wouldn't necessarily just jump in there or anything. Tillman,
right.
I don't even know if he's here. Look, he's not even saying nothing. I'm looking at Turbo USD at the moment. We'll do a couple more charts here, guys, and then I'll be done. If you have to go, Fibo, let me know, man. It's cool. I understand. If not, feel free to continue.
I got a few more minutes.
Okay, so look at that. Look at how much he loves y'all. Look at that.
Now Turbo.
Don't laugh like that when I say how much you love them. Don't laugh like that. They're not going to believe me.
What chart? What? Oh, you're on OKX. That's okay.
Well, he asked for Turbo USD, which you can find on Coinbase, but that's like just this downtrend here. The USDT gives a lot more information.
That's what I pulled up, and I didn't have anything, so I didn't have anything on it. So go ahead. It's all you, man.
Let me see.
Kick in the turbo.
Oh, let me see here. What do we have? That's a good question. I like when price does this right here, where you get this expansion into consolidation into expansion here. So it starts wide and then boom, it takes down. You see the volume start picking up down here at the lows, showing the demand showing up right there on that S1 pivot. Low volume node right here. We like that. We hit these, I don't know if did we sweep these lows? Not quite. But we hit that liquidity right in this area, popping up.
BTC's taking a dump. Just letting you know.
What is? Bitcoin?
BTC, yeah.
Why are you telling me stuff like that? We don't want to hear stuff like that.
Just letting you know.
You act like you don't want to be invited back, man. Oh, man. Let me see here. So this looks like, let's see here. It's like a 4 and a 5. Yeah, this one's not overly fun to look at here. On the weekly, I like what we're looking at the weekly. If we look at this weekly hammer candle over here back on the week of September 30th of last year, and again, hitting that same kind of level, which is also, as you can see here, just the resistance support level across here. Look at how great that level is. This looks like 3 waves back here, maybe like an ABC. Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at this, where's the swing low? This is it right here, right? 28,725. Yeah. So we'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe A, B, well, W, X, and then maybe Y here. So that would be a pullback of almost 70.5. So that's a great pullback. But I think, I mean, I'm kind of iffy on it. It looks good on the weekly, but here on the daily, I'd probably be looking for a daily candle breakout and close above this descending resistance here. So maybe somewhere around 0.0075, around that area, maybe by the time it gets there. Maybe even a little bit around that 7577. If I can get that, then I would be feeling good about further upside there. And I would be looking at that would be a 1 and a 2. I'd be looking for a 3 up there at about 0.0575. If we can keep this low here, we get the breakout. headed up there. But honestly, it's really kind of ugly, choppy, sideways price action for almost a year here. What I do like is we do have the low here. And then, again, we can continue pulling this across. How great that is. And then we get above it and we stay above that line. So again, a rally back off that would be really positive for this price action here. So that's where I would be looking at for turbo. What are we doing here? Yeah, we're getting a little pullback. I think we've got a leading diagonal right here. Let me zoom in real quick.
Yeah, I would just say I was kind of kidding when I was saying I was taking a dump, but it's just adding to the correction.
Yeah, no. Well, this price action is really kind of crappy here. We've been trying to figure it out at the Academy here. This part, the big news is we broke out above the wave B, the 1055 kind of area, which says that if the rest of this count is correct, this 2 is correct, then we've got that 3 at 135,000. Mm-hmm. This though, it looks like. It looks like a leading diagonal here for a 1-2. And then it could be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a 3. Then we're getting a 4 here. And then we get a 5 up here toward this R1 pivot at around 108, 150 or so.
Yeah, test the previous high.
Right now we're just trying to figure out what this, what this kind of price act, what kind of nonsense is going on here.
Yeah. That's one thing I liked about, at least for my system.
The other thought was this was a 1-2 and this was a 1-2.
Which was a 1-2?
Say that again.
You said one. You said.
Well, I'm looking. Maybe we got like a leading diagonal as a 1-2 here, and then we've got a 1-2 here. Obviously, if you lose this swing low, that won't be correct, but this still could be. Even 5 up here is a leading diagonal. We get the pullback here, or again 1, 2, 3, 4. We get a 5 up here as a leading diagonal pullback. It's the overlapping price action. It's you do it for short-term trades. We can kind of get these little shorter-term trades, but this kind of stuff makes it really difficult to project out from it itself.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying on mine when it comes to the 4-hour, it did not go into the bull zone on that latest rally, so you're not buying into that move. It basically said, you know what, you might want to hold off a little bit as this thing corrects back a little further, which is good. Yeah. That's what it's for, right? Kind of keeps you from
exactly
buying into what looks like a trend starting, and it really hasn't started just yet, but doesn't mean that it's not done. It's just, like you said, you're getting that overlapping price action, and it gets kind of hard to make definitive places right off the bat. But.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And then, as you like me, talked to a lot of traders over the years, and, especially when it comes to retail, we get a little overly excited. We end up going in early. We don't wait for confirmations. We're like, oh, it looks like it's going to be this. Let's do it, and you most often end up getting caught because it looks like it for a second. And that's how that's how you get lured into it. And then they use they use you as liquidity. To move price.
And this large candle is probably a lot of them going, oh my gosh, I better get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they bought up and getting stopped out on some of those higher buys.
Yeah,
I mean, for the real term.
If you were in this, do what?
No, go ahead. You said if you were in.
Oh no, I was just going to say a real quick educational thing here. You see how we've got this breakout here. So we came out through this through this kind of descending resistance, which was good. And our volume's kind of going up, which is good. But then you get this spike of volume into the high here. This one candle, huge spike of volume. Got to be cautious of that. If you get a retrace back below that candle, do not stay in that trade. I mean, this is a simple, generic kind of way to protect yourself. The trend off this low is up here, right? But then, and your volume's going up, and that's good. It looks good. Oh, it looks okay going up there. But then as this extends here, you get this one big candle all of a sudden, much bigger than all the rest of these. Huge spike of volume compared to the volume around it. That should be cautious. If you don't get follow through above that candle, that lets you know that that's supply coming in there. So if it comes back down and you're dropping back below that candle, you should really, if you were getting in this area, you should be back out. Most of the time, dropping back below that candle with that volume on it when it's coming on this move like this is going to signal that you're going to come down further, like we're seeing here.
Yep.
So again, just another generic way, a generic price action way that you can protect yourself if you understand what I'm talking about here. Because the trend was here. We were getting higher highs and higher lows. Candles weren't all that great, but they were okay. Volume was expanding, okay. But then again, the trend's up here, and then what ends up being the end of the trend is just this big candle with a huge, huge, huge volume compared to what it was. That's supply coming in. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to shove it down, but when it breaks down below that candle, the odds are it's going to break down further, and you need to go ahead and be out. So if you were in this area, looking at it move up, and you saw this here, get out of here. Worst case scenario, you lose just a tad bit, rather than sitting in there and holding on and being way underwater down here. Now, if you were long from over here, you're still fine, right? So there's that. Anyway, I'm way over here, guys, almost 2 hours doing this. So we're going to go and get out of here as always. Appreciate you guys showing up. Man, yeah. As always, remember the only thing you control is how much you lose. So please keep working on your risk management. I know Fibo agrees with that. Even though we don't use the exact same risk management, his risk management is geared toward his system, which is something that he teaches you guys. So if you join us over there, again, you can join us at TexasWestCapital.com. Fibo will teach you how to use his system. And you also get his trades and his updates, and you get to ask him questions and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And I'm hoping one of these days he becomes a grumpy bear with you all and just yells at you. I'm hoping. I haven't seen it yet, but you know.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Nah, he's not going to do that. But anyway, yeah, you know, you'll get that. And of course, you'll get everything else I teach in the group coach, and you get access to TWC Traders Club, which we've been on fire, absolute fire, especially lately. Been so many great trades, stocks and crypto and futures and, you know, everything else out there. With that, of course, are my trades, Fibo's trades, Andrew's and Vince's trades with that as well. Different, and they're different ways of looking at it. Fibo does his system for his trades. I do basically what you see here. I use a lot of different things to try and find trades. Andrew likes to use Elliott Wave and Wyckoff. Vince spends a lot of time with ICT, with price action. So, you know, it's all there. And sometimes we cover the same trades, the same assets, but just on different time frames or different entries and exits. So, you know, y'all are from all over the world. You come in, you know, we're all US based, but it allows you more of an opportunity to find something maybe that you want to take a chance on and trade. But again, you know, risk management, the biggest thing there. You know, that should be the first thing you learn before anything else. So there you go. Like I said, guys, hey, listen, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, share the link. Really appreciate that. Leave a comment. Unless you're a jerk, then I'll just delete you because that's what I can do. It's my prerogative. Anyway. But listen, I really appreciate you jumping in, Fibo. I know you were busy today, and then even staying late with us and you know, doing some chart requests here as well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I made it. I didn't know how long it was going to be, but I got here in time to do some stuff, so it's good.
Fibo was at his corporate meeting going, I got places to be, folks, more important than this. Let's go.
I wasn't doing that.
I'm just kidding. All right. Hey, listen, you guys have a great weekend. Trade safe. Don't forget, I'll be back on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern with the other Andrew and Tillman from Arch Public. And we do our our Beards and Bitcoin podcast every Wednesday. Lots of great stuff there. We like to have a good time and try to make it fun. So there it is. Y'all trade safe. Like I said, get out of here. Do something productive today. Fibo, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for showing up.
You bet. All right. Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, guys. We will catch y'all later. Take care.